dough neatly folded into triangles stuffed with spinach and sheep milk's feta is what's on the menu today, spanakopita. Hi, Michelle here. Welcome to the Traveling Epicurean. I'm here with my good friend Dana, and she's going to share with us a secret family recipe, right?
That's
for this
right.
classic Greek dish, spanakopita. And this is our dear friend Lynn. We all went to college together, so it might get a little bit crazy today.
Makes it fun. Lynn's gonna make us a drink now.
Oh, okay, Lynn. What kind of drink are you gonna make us?
It is a mixtaxa mojito.
Ooh, I like that. What goes into that?
Well, we will put some fresh lime, and I will muddle this all up. We have some fresh lime that we're gonna muddle. A little bit of brown sugar, fresh lemons that Dana is squeezing right now. Some seltzer and mixtaxa liquor, which is a Greek liquor. And metaxa. Metaxa.
Yeah, Metaxa or
Metaxa.
Metaxa. Okay.
And
we're gonna have Greek lesson.
a little brown sugar. Yeah, that's good.
You think that's enough?
Yeah,
Oh, look
beautiful.
at that.
It's not so bad with the basil. I don't know.
We'll add our metaxa liquor.
Okay. We're not measuring. No need to measure. You can
I
eyeball
don't need to measure. It's a cocktail. It's how you want it to be. Not yet.
That's right. Okay. Dana, you have the ice in your hands. How do those hands feel, Dana?
They're good. I don't know. Tell me.
They're good. All right. So you're adding.
This is like being in college when we used to marinate our fruit in some grain alcohol.
Yeah.
Or make it with Jello.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yummy.
Throw a little ice in there. Good. Give it a little shake.
My TJ Maxx find.
I love that. That's adorable.
Oh yeah, it's really good. It had soda in it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yum. Let's see how that tastes. Dana will be our taste tester today.
I'm not. All right.
Just give it a little taste.
Yeah.
Cheers, Dana. How's it
pretty damn
taste?
good.
It's good.
Is it good?
Yeah. Better than I thought it was gonna be. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually delicious. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Very nice.
I like that. What do we need, Dana, to get this?
We have
spanakopita
phyllo
going?
dough.
Okay.
This happens to be a number 4 because it was bought at Restaurant Depot, but you can use Athenos, I think it is, in the regular grocery store. Make sure it's thawed.
And it comes in different numbers, right? So that
Yeah, but
means-
in the regular grocery store it doesn't. So you would just buy what's in the freezer section,
Okay.
thaw it out in your refrigerator overnight. Ricotta, and I use feta, and this happens to be sheep's milk feta.
I
This
love
one happens to
sheep.
be from France. I use spinach that I defrosted and squeezed all the water out.
Okay.
I have parsley, dill. Today we're using shallots because there's been a run on scallions and nobody can get scallions
I know.
anywhere.
I could not find scallions
Yeah,
anywhere.
something's going on with the scallions.
Something's going on with the scallions.
So they can keep them for now. So we're using shallots, which will be perfectly fine.
Okay.
Can always improvise. It shouldn't be a big deal. It's not, and I personally just like more cheese in mine.
Okay. Sounds
Okay,
great.
so I'm just gonna
You're
take.
going to be putting everything in this bowl here.
Yeah, I have 2 cups of ricotta because today we're actually gonna measure for you.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I have to get some of this feta out.
People do want to know measurements.
Yes,
Some
they
people
do.
don't cook like us, you know.
No, which is true. So about a cup of spinach is what it ended up being.
So you thawed and drained that.
I
That was frozen
thawed and I
spinach.
really squeezed it so it was dry.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna just get some of this feta out of here.
And how much feta do you think? About a cup?
I think I might put about a cup, and then when I squish it all around, I'll have a better idea.
Okay.
Of course, it's not that easy getting it out of here.
Yeah.
Oh,
That looks delicious. I love sheep's milk feta.
it is really good.
It's creamy.
Yeah, it's gonna break down nice when it bakes. All right, so we do a cup of that, maybe more. We'll see
Now,
what
are
it
you going to
tastes like.
saute the shallots?
No, because we're baking them. I'm
So we
not
really
going
don't
to.
need
I
to do
chopped
that.
them very small. You could. I'm just not.
Okay.
So we'll know later. But once we bake them, they'll be perfectly fine.
Okay.
All right.
So we didn't grow up cooking with recipes.
No.
You know, you're half Italian, half Greek. I'm half Italian, half Scottish. Fiery Italian.
Lynn's Italian.
Italian.
And she never really cooks. She just drinks. She drinks. She drinks.
Somebody's got to be in charge of that.
Cheers,
Cheers!
She is an excellent bartender.
These
at St.
Metaxa
Clair's.
mojitos look absolutely beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? Really
Little
pretty.
basil. Don't drip in my thing there.
No, I'm
She
so
was dripping
sorry.
in there. Okay, so I'm gonna take.
A little extra flavor doesn't hurt, does it?
No, it doesn't. I'm gonna take a tablespoon of shallots. Actually, about two.
Okay,
2 tablespoons. Same about parsley. 2 tablespoons.
Very good. And the dill. I love
Dill. Yeah,
flavor
nice
of
fresh
dill.
dill. And then I also put a little couple shakes of nutmeg.
Ooh,
A little different. It's a little different.
I like
And
that.
some pepper. I don't put salt usually because the butter, I didn't use unsalted butter.
Well, the feta has enough salt. content,
Exactly.
Right? So we probably don't need to add any salt.
Exactly. So we're just gonna mix this up until we get it all.
But I mean,
incorporated.
1 cup of spinach. Look how much stuffing that makes.
Yes.
A lot.
It made a lot, and I used 2 cups of the cheese, so.
Now, can we try this? before
Yeah, we have
put
to
in?
try it,
Yeah.
because that's
Make
how
sure
I know it's good.
it has enough seasonings too, right?
Exactly.
That looks absolutely beautiful. Now, you said your mom did not use spinach?
My mother did
growing
not,
up?
so
What did she use?
just cheese. She would use cottage cheese, regatta cheese, and feta cheese, which I like it with spinach because I feel it's a little healthier amongst all the butter we use.
But Dana's like me, we like to tweak the recipes.
That's fine.
Oh,
yeah.
Do we need this phyllo dough room temperature?
It should be room temperature and
So you
thawed.
can work with it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't, if it had been thawed in the fridge and we took it out, it would
Yeah.
still be fine. It's not like pie dough or
Yeah.
puff pastry.
Yeah.
It's pliable, very pliable and
And I
dry.
love working with this dough because it's so forgiving, so you don't have to go crazy worrying about tears or anything.
No, you
have
can
to rip
hide
the
your
dough
tears,
Because
exactly.
it just gets flaky and puffy anyway.
Right.
So, the look is just a rusted look.
So I'm gonna unfold it. See how it looks? This is actually very
Absolutely
nice
gorgeous.
phyllo. Sometimes you get them where they're stuck together,
Yeah.
but don't fret.
Don't fret over
You
that.
might make a mess and you can just patch
your
on how
area.
big you want your triangles. If we're making them small, then you cut small strips. So obviously you'd use very little filling.
Beautiful.
But I'm not gonna make them so tiny because we're gonna eat them for lunch. I'll make a few tiny just so you can see. So I try to cut everything the same size so it stays continuous.
Sure.
You'll see how things
So you
split.
slice right through that with that knife. I like
Yeah,
how that
and then I
works.
stack so I keep everything the same.
Same size.
Yeah, same size.
And what's nice about these triangles is you can freeze them so easily, right?
Yes, you definitely make a bunch of them at once because it's a lot of work. So,
And so for a party, I mean, who's better than you? You have it
Right.
all the work done. It's all in the freezer.
yep, you go to your freezer and you say, oh, look, someone's coming over. I got spanakopita.
Look at
And then you throw them on a tray and you bake them.
I love that.
Quick and easy. Underneath. So, you can't just leave it sitting out like this because it
It'll
dries
dry
out.
out, and
so
that's not
I just
good.
keep a damp cloth over it like this until I'm ready to set it all up and work.
Okay.
Okay?
Very
So
good.
obviously we're gonna go right into it.
Okay.
And I melted a pound of butter,
Yes, I see the butter there.
which we didn't have in our opening thing.
Butter
there.
makes
Yes.
everything delicious.
And I do a lot of sheets, a few at once. Because once you're going, you don't have to drown it in butter.
Exactly.
But you need to I like butter on each sheet. Some people are health conscious and you could spray it with Pam or...
I've seen the spraying and olive oil as well, but you know what? I
Exactly.
love the flavor of the butter.
Butter's,
Right, if I'm gonna
butter
eat
is
it,
what it's all
Butter's
about.
king, right?
Yes.
And I use 3 sheets
3 sheets per
per
triangle.
triangle. That's what I
Okay.
do.
Gotcha.
So we'll just concentrate on one so you can see how it's done.
Okay, and you folded that back up
Yeah.
and covered it with the damp cloth.
cloth. Yep. And I have to have something over it because it will absorb it.
Okay.
I use my little scooper.
I like the little scooper. So that's about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more.
Okay, so now we fold like a flag. So you go from one corner, right? And
I
then
love
you
that.
you flip it over,
That's beautiful.
okay? And you just keep going and
at
you make a
that.
Isn't
flag.
that neat?
It's simple.
It's simple. A lot of times I keep adding a little butter because I want it. Butter helps to make it stay flaky and stick together as well.
Sure.
Then when I get to the end, I seal it down.
And then you butter it again.
Yep.
Did you do an egg wash on there? Because
No,
I know
no,
that some
no,
recipes
no,
have
no
an
egg
egg
wash.
wash. You don't need
I
the
just
egg
do
wash.
it as simple as that.
That
How
looks
cute it looks.
absolutely gorgeous.
And I get my tray
Okay.
and I put them on. This tray happens to have no stick foil. You don't need to use foil. there's so much butter, it doesn't stick on anything at this point.
Okay.
And generally, when I have those lines like that, I turn it over. I try to find the best side. Once
We start doing this.
So after you do this, you just layer it with either tinfoil or wax paper.
While you're waiting for the other ones to come out of the oven?
Yep, they're baking.
Okay, because you don't want that to dry out, right? Is that why we're doing
No,
that?
there's butter on it, so they won't.
Okay.
Once you put butter all over it, you don't have
It's
to worry
fine.
about the drying out aspect of it.
Okay.
So you just start making them and finish up your phyllo dough.
Dana, look at Papa over there.
Got
It's
it.
just unbelievable.
You are amazing,
Got it
Papa.
Got it down,
Got it.
girls.
A sous chef. Oh my
She
gosh.
is a good assistant.
I'm so
Entire
proud of
life.
you.
Have a sip of your drink, ladies.
This is a good point.
Look at those awesome cocktails.
See, this is what when it gets dry, it starts to flake.
Yeah,
so that's how
yeah.
you know.
Oh, so it starts to fall apart.
Yeah, see, it
Yeah.
starts to roll up, and you just put butter on it, and then it'll
And
be
then
fine.
butter makes everything good.
better.
Much
Yes.
better. Oh, those are looking beautiful. So what, they've been in there for about 18 minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
it's
about 18 minutes right
About
now.
18 minutes. Oh, they look gorgeous. So you want them in for a little longer?
Yeah, we're gonna take them out in a minute, just
Okay.
as we put this down. They're coming out.
And look at those gorgeous croutons you made, Dana. One more, Lynn. You're a machine, Lynn.
Yep. Awesome. I'm so proud of you.
So now, what do you mean you want these to set up before we freeze
Now I'm
them?
gonna stick them in the freezer.
In the freezer right away?
Yeah, because we're not gonna eat that many because it's only
Yeah.
3 of us and we
Yeah.
can't. We could probably eat that many, but we're not.
Okay.
And then we'll freeze them for another day.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
When Lynn steals them from my freezer.
Lynn comes back.
We'll be eating them the 23rd of January.
At Sharon's.
They'll still be in there.
Now I just started. Oh, that looks beautiful, Dana. The whole table looks really pretty.
Oh, why, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm very excited to eat these.
Here we go. Oh, that's yours, Lynn. I know, I can recognize it anywhere.
Skippy's ready?
Flippy.
Skippy's Flippy. Flippy, Skippy.
Skippy. Okay.
Beautiful.
Flippy's like, I'm done with the fire. I'm ready for some good eats.
See yours?
Yeah. I'll take my triangle.
This is my triangle that I slaved over.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Everything looks really beautiful. Thank you, Dana, for
thank
sharing your wonderful recipe for the spanakopita. I can't wait for you guys to go make this. You can find the recipe at thetravelingepicurean.com. Thank you so much for watching. What do we say in Greek? We say,
Well, I say
Yassas.
adieu.
Opa. Opa. Ciao. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Is it going?
It's going right now.
Hi.
You are the clearest.
I think I had too much coffee. Okay.
I gave her too many cappuccinos, and this is the result.
Take 4. Hi, Michelle here with the Traveling Epicurean. Today, it's all about Bolognese recipe to match a dish that I had in Urbino, Italy, where I went to school for 8 months. It's this beautiful little Renaissance town where Raffaella was born. And this dish is so heavenly. It's made with veal and pork. Your kitchen fills with aromas of rosemary, red wine, and tomato. You're gonna love it, and I'm so happy to share it with you here today. Okay, so to start this wonderful bolognese, I have a pound of ground veal, a pound of ground pork, about a third a cup of grated carrots, 3 tablespoons or a quarter cup of the grated celery, and a cup of chopped or grated onion, and then of course my 2 large garlic cloves, whole peeled tomatoes, my red wine, my heavy cream, and my rosemary. Okay, so I've been heating up 3 tablespoons of olive oil on a medium heat. I just added in my garlic, my onion, celery, and carrots. And then I'm just gonna start to saute this for about 10 minutes on medium low until it's all softened and slightly golden. And then we're gonna puree it with the tomatoes. This is looking beautiful. It's been sauteing for a few minutes. so here we go with the layered flavors. We're going to deglaze with a 1/4 cup of red wine. And we're just going to mix that around a little bit. Let that evaporate. I like to keep the garlic cloves in the middle. This way they just get softened. If I were to put them through the garlic press, I'm afraid they would burn, and you don't want burnt garlic because it gets a little bit bitter. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt, our first layer of flavor. Now I'm going to put the sauteed veggies in the food processor with the whole peeled tomatoes. I'm like a sauce gal, okay? Oh my god! Sauce gal, I know.
It's something like that because
Okay, quiet now on the set. Too quiet. I am a sauce gal. I love making sauces. It's one of my favorite things to do cooking, and building layers of flavors by sauteing the vegetables and then pureeing them with our tomatoes. It's going to make it a really, really nice sauce. Get these beautifully sauteed vegetables right into the food processor, and then we're going to puree those with the whole peeled tomatoes. 2 cups of whole peeled tomatoes. So I'm gonna get my top on, and I'm gonna puree this till it's nice and smooth. Beautifully pureed vegetables with the tomatoes. That looks so pretty. It's gonna be delicious. And I got 3 tablespoons of olive oil for our veal and our pork. We're only gonna do a pound at a time. You don't want to put 2 pounds in there. It's a medium hot. So I'm just gonna stir it around. You really want this on a medium-high heat. Nothing worse than all the juices rendering out of the meat and having it boil. You can't build flavors by boiling meat when you're making a bolognese. You have to caramelize the meat. We'll take this batch out, put it aside, and then we're gonna finish, with the other pound right there. And then when that's all done, we'll add back in our lovely sauteed and pureed vegetables here. The juices are going to render out of that meat, and you're going to see it get a little bit loose there. But just give it a little bit of time, and it'll start to reduce down, and then it'll start to caramelize again. It's just because it's cooking. So you definitely want it on medium-high. You could even have it closer to high. So do we see that pretty color in there? It's getting caramelized. The meat is adding flavor to the dish. As you can see that. See the brown? That's what we want. We don't want it boiled. We want it caramelized. More flavor into the dish. It's a little hard to see with all the steam there. So it was sauteing for about 5 minutes. All the juices rendered out of it. And boy, the browning starts really quickly after the 5 minutes. So you want to give it a couple of stirs. It looks really beautiful now. See all the beautiful brown caramelization. And then we'll add in the wine. I took it off the stove so it would stop smoking there, so you could see how pretty it is. The colors are gorgeous. And I'm going to put it back on the stove and let that red wine evaporate a little bit. And then it takes off all those little caramelized bits, which are really delicious, good flavor. Whew. It smells so good. And then I'm going to take this lovely meat and I'm going to put it in the bowl here. And then we're going to finish with our 2nd pound of veal and pork. So I added in another 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to let that come back up to temperature because we want to hear a sear when we put that meat, when we put the veal and the pork in the pan. Medium-high heat, and it's starting to sizzle. See the little bubbles in there? And it's about ready. So I'm going to add the rest of the meat here.
that up a little bit. That's a great sound. We're sauteing 2 pieces of bacon, and we'll finally chop that up, and then that's gonna go in our pan. This really gives a little bit of extra added flavor, a layer of flavor in there as well. I'm doing it in a separate pan so we don't get all that bacon fat. In the other pound of sauteed meats, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna add in our beautiful pureed vegetables. And then I'm gonna add in a half a cup of veal stock. You can find veal stock in the frozen section at like Whole Foods. If you can't find veal stock, use chicken stock. And then we're gonna bring this to a simmer. So I don't really like that meat to be a really thick, coarse bolognese. I like it to be finer, so if I see some clumps, I'm just going to break it up a little bit with a fork. That's all, just so it's a finer sauce and not a thick, bulky sauce. I want it to be a delicate sauce, so I don't want big chunks of meat. It only takes a couple seconds to break up the meat like that. So I add rosemary at 2 stages, 1 in the beginning stage. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of rosemary then. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of rosemary right now, and then also the 3 tablespoons of bacon that I sauteed. I finally chopped that bacon and the rosemary. And then I'm just gonna mix it in. And wow, that rosemary, just that little rosemary in there, and it smells so good. And the bacon is kind of like a underlying hidden flavor that people will never be able to figure out. So the last 2 things I'm gonna add in before it simmers for an hour and a half is 1/4 cup of red wine and 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper, fine pepper. You could always adjust the salt and pepper like I said at the end. So I've been simmering the bolognese for an hour and a half. It's been slightly covered. I left a little bit open so the steam can get out, and I'm stirring every 15 minutes, but then you'll see how the water just drips off of there. Make sure you let that drip off of there and not in the pot. And look how amazing that is. It's so beautiful, and it smells incredible. I'm gonna add some heavy cream and some more fresh rosemary to it. And then I'm gonna put it in my Le Creuset pot. I have this very big baking dish. I'm gonna cook up some gnocchi, and I'm gonna add the gnocchi to that sauce. So I'm going to a Christmas party tonight, and I'm gonna bring these gnocchis over with me. I'm gonna add some heavy cream to this. I'm gonna add some more fresh rosemary, about a tablespoon. And another 1/4 cup of red wine. I'm gonna give that a stir. It really doesn't need to cook anymore, just needs to warm through. So in total here, I've added 2 cups of heavy cream, a 1/2 cup of red wine, and a tablespoon of very finely chopped rosemary to the end, which is another layer of flavors, and you see how light it's
Finish the sauce by grating some of my favorite Reggiano in there, and then that will complete it.
So I have my boiling water, my lovely bolognese that we just made, and then I'm gonna add the gnocchis. And when they float to the top, we're gonna put them in our sauce. So my gnocchis have started to float to the top. So I'm going to take them out and just put them right into the sauce here. These are the frozen gnocchis. Look how nicely they all float up like that. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm just going to keep scooping them out until I have the right amount in there. So you have to do these in batches, especially when they're frozen. Just 3, I do like 2.5, 3 handfuls at a time. You give a swirl because you don't want them to stick to the bottom. And they're frozen, so they're going to take maybe 15 to 20 more seconds to float up to the top.
And look at all these gnocchis we have in here. And I'm just going to start gently covering them with the bolognese sauce. So I'm even going to just shimmy it back and forth. You don't want to stir these gnocchis because they're very delicate. And you don't want them to fall apart by over stirring them. Give them one little look at this bolognese. It is absolutely heavenly. I cooked up all those gnocchis, put them right in the sauce. I'm gonna heat this up right before I go to my Christmas party tonight for about 25 minutes on 350. And this Le Creuset pot is wonderful. It's gonna stay hot for a while. So when I bring it over, it'll be nice because they can put it right on the table. So I'm gonna plate some up, and then I'm gonna add some Reggiano, and of course, our truffle oil. This amazing truffle oil on top of this. How decadent is that gonna be? When I first had this bolognese, it was with a pasta called strozzopreti. And it's like this little pasta that they roll between their hands and then they cut up into 2-inch lengths. And it was absolutely delicious. I found this pasta at our local specialty shop, our cheese shop in Old Saybrook, Fromage. They had it with all their other dried fresh pastas. I was so excited when I saw that. So if you're gonna look for that special pasta, strozzopreti, to make with this bolognese sauce, you'll be having the original dish that I had in Urbino. Here's our plate of gnocchis. I am going to grate some Reggiano cheese on there. And then our truffle oil. And then the best part, I get to eat it. So here's our beautiful plate of gnocchis. Just grated some Reggiano. You only need a few drops when you have good truffle oil. Really beautiful. This bolognese is a dish like you've never had before. I really want you to make this recipe and let me know what you think about it. And here's the bolognese, plated up with some fresh pasta. So this is the best part, sampling the bolognese. Really, really good. It's a very unique bolognese. Heavy cream. You could go with a coconut cream, and that would be really delicious as well. Thank you for being here with me today. I'm really excited for you to try this recipe.